so hard in life not to do something, right? To be comfortable with negative space, pauses in conversation, you know, an empty canvas, words not spoken, whatever it is, right? That's the hard part, like notes that aren't in the guitar solo. Determining what should remain in order to have something more impactful, and being mindful not just to add things for the sake of adding. So Brewer-Clifton is born out of something very subtractive, not additive. I abhor the term winemaker. I don't see myself making anything.
Greg Brewer as a winemaker. Crazy. The most dedicated human being I have ever met in my entire life. He is driven, focused. It's beyond passion. This is a need. This creates Greg. This is who Greg is.
First thing that comes to mind is pioneer. He has, in many ways, taken an unknown parcel of California, which was deemed to be a hostile environment for winemaking. As an artist, has created something that has truly brought notice to the Los Olivos town, to the Santa Rita Hills. I think in many ways has opened the door to winemakers around the area to take risks, to step out and to do what he's done, which is to use the surroundings, to combine that with art and vision and create a product that in many ways most people don't fully appreciate till you taste it.
So I was born in Connecticut when my dad was finishing his doctorate there at Yale. When I was 6 months old, my family moved out to Pacific Palisades in California. My folks divorced when I was 4 in 1974, and Dad went back to Connecticut to teach at Yale, and he remained there more or less for about 40 years. And then my mom, my older sister, and myself stayed in the Palisades. And we all lived pretty independent lives, to be honest. You know, Mom was super driven and a survivor, and there was that almost puritanical work ethic that I think was woven into all of us. She had a dream of becoming a lawyer, a district attorney. She worked during the day to support us, and then she went to law school at night. And so she would go to work at 5 or 6 in the morning, and she'd come home at 9 or 10 at night. And she loved it. She loved her work so much. I saw that. I saw someone who really kind of gained identity through one's work. And it's a blessing and a curse. It led to something very, very independent, something very singular. I embrace working alone. I don't see being alone lonely. I love solitude, that kind of thing. And I think that, as I've gotten older, has been woven more profoundly into what I do and the manner in which I do it. Art and aesthetic has always been really important in our family. My grandmother was an artist, my grandfather an architect. You know, kind of aesthetic things and space use and like the importance of objects. There's something resonant about materials and textures and things that carry more importance. You know, having fewer things or smaller space, but having those objects being more vital to the surroundings is key. And my grandmother in particular was totally out of the box. I mean, she was pretty crazy. And she really discouraged coloring books and stuff because she never wanted people to feel confined by lines. You know, she was just free thinking and saw art in beautiful things and nature. And it's been important to me, I think, to kind of see things that way, you know, to see art that way and not just to go through the motions, but to feel confident about interpreting something with a different lens. My grandmother did a bronze the day my mom graduated law school, which is a big deal, and then that's what's inlaid in the front door here. Every time I come in, there's that reminder of like family and perseverance and drive and being steadfast in the pursuit of one's dream. For college, I applied to a bunch of schools, and I always thought I'd get into Yale because Dad taught there, and turns out I didn't. But and I wouldn't have gone, but I wanted to get in, and so I got into UCSB. It was all in, you know, fraternity, the whole thing. In the fraternity house, one day, I happened to look, and there's a newspaper, and there was an ad that I saw for a tasting room job. I just picked it up and it was like a little square ad and it said, tasting room clerk, no experience necessary but willingness to learn, $5.50 an hour, Santa Barbara Winery. I thought, jackpot, right? Learn about wine, meet girls, work at a winery downtown Santa Barbara. Like I would pay $5.50 an hour to do that. And so I went down and I applied, and I didn't get the job the first time because I didn't know Chardonnay was a grape. I mean, I could pronounce everything, so I kind of could pull things off, but I didn't really know that much about wine. And then fortunately for me, someone else gave notice shortly thereafter. I was the second candidate, the second choice. They extended the job to me as like a second choice, you know. They were like, oh, you are our second pick. And I was like, thank you. From my very first day at work, I was probably there for an hour. And everything about it, I loved. I loved the interaction with people. I loved sharing something that was sexy and romantic, like wine. Knowing that once armed with a little bit more information, I could really help people enjoy wine more and kind of dispel myth, encourage people and instill confidence in people about wine. The more I knew, not in an arrogant, oh, let me teach you something way, but in a kind of diffusion of, you know, other things about wine that are scary for people and intimidating for people. And then I met Steve Clifton. We were both like pouring at an event together. We're basically from LA. He's a touch older, but basically, you know, a similar storyline to me, more or less. I met him and I thought, whoa, like, you're my guy. We immediately started spending tons of time together. So Steve and his wife at the time, and then my girlfriend at the time, now ex-wife. The four of us really just spent tons of time together, like cooking and eating and drinking and dreaming, and the Cliftons, and we came out with $12,000 collectively, which wasn't the easiest thing. I mean, none of us were making that much money, and Santa Barbara's expensive. And so we came up with our, you know, the $12,000 to start the winery, and that was it in 1996. It was 10 barrels, it was 2 Chardonnay vineyards, 2 Pinot Noir vineyards. It was really a special time. I mean, I'll never forget those first nights. It was amazing. Brewer-Clifton was born.